The outpost was already dead when the human ship arrived. Broken towers leaned against each other like tired giants. Smoke drifted slowly across the ground, carried by a weak red wind. Burn marks covered the metal streets. Silence was heavy, the kind that followed a battle where no one had survived long enough to celebrate. From the sky, a single human dropship descended. It did not rush. It did not hide. It came down slow and steady, as if the world below could not harm it. The ramp opened. A human stepped out. He was tall, broad, and fully armored. The armor was dark and worn, covered in marks from old fights. It was not shiny or new. It looked used, trusted, heavy. Behind him, 2 more humans remained inside the ship, watching but not moving. This was his task alone. Across the ruins, alien figures emerged from behind broken walls and collapsed towers. They moved with discipline. Each one carried a weapon aimed at the human. Their armor was sharp and clean, decorated with symbols of rank and victory. At their front stood a warrior woman. She was taller than the others, her armor shaped for battle, her posture straight and proud. Her helmet was open, revealing cold, focused eyes. She had ended wars. She had crushed worlds, and now she raised her weapon at the lone human. The outpost belonged to her people now. The human did not raise his weapon. He stopped several steps from the alien line and stood still. His hands remained relaxed at his sides. He did not speak. He did not kneel. The alien warrior woman narrowed her eyes. No human acted like this. Humans were known across the stars as loud fighters or desperate survivors. They shouted, they charged, or they begged. This one did none of those things. She stepped forward, her boots scraping metal. "You have entered restricted territory," she said, her voice calm but sharp. "State your purpose." The human slowly lifted his head. He did not remove his helmet yet. His voice came through the armor, steady and controlled. "I came for the survivors," he said. The alien warrior woman almost laughed. "There are none," she replied. "This outpost fell hours ago. Your people are gone." The human did not argue. "Then I came to confirm it," he said. The alien soldiers shifted slightly. Some tightened their grip on their weapons. Something about his tone made them uneasy. It was not anger. It was certainty. The warrior woman lifted her weapon higher, aiming directly at his chest. "Leave," she ordered, "or die." Here the human paused. Then slowly, deliberately, he reached up and touched the side of his helmet. Every alien weapon locked tighter. "Do not," she warned, but he did not stop. With careful movements, he disengaged the seal and lifted the helmet away. The air hissed softly as it released. He lowered the helmet and held it under one arm. His face was human, plain, calm. But it was not fear they saw. It was control. Scars crossed his skin. Old ones. Deep ones. The kind that did not come from training accidents. His eyes were steady, watching the warrior woman without challenge or submission. He breathed in the open air like it belonged to him. The alien warrior woman felt something strange tighten in her chest. She had seen fearless enemies before. She had killed them. Fearless meant reckless. This was different. This human looked like a storm held back by walls. She took another step forward. "Put the helmet back on," she said, her voice lower now. Instead, the human reached for the first armor plate on his shoulder. The aliens reacted instantly. Weapons powered up. Targeting lights danced across his body. A dozen soldiers shouted warnings in their sharp alien language. The warrior woman raised her hand. Hold, she commanded. Her soldiers froze. The human slowly removed the shoulder plate and let it fall to the ground with a dull, heavy sound. Then another plate. Then another. Piece by piece, the armor came off. The aliens watched in stunned silence. Beneath the armor, his body was marked with old symbols and scars that glowed faintly under the alien sun. His muscles moved with controlled strength, not tense, not ready to strike, but restrained like a beast choosing to sleep. The air felt heavier. The warrior woman's breath caught. She remembered something. A story from ancient war teachings. A warning whispered to young commanders, but never explained fully. Humans fight armored to protect others. Unarmored humans fight to end wars. Her weapon began to shake. The human finished removing the final piece and stood there unarmed, unarmored, exposed, and completely calm. "I did not come to fight," he said softly. His voice carried across the ruins without effort. But if you force me to, he continued, then I will not put this back on. The warrior woman felt her fingers loosen. Her weapon lowered inch by inch without her meaning to. Her mouth opened. No words came out. The battlefield was silent, and every being there understood the same terrifying truth. The armor was never meant to protect the human. It was meant to protect everyone else. The silence did not break. It spread. The ruined outpost felt smaller now, as if the air itself was pressing inward. The alien soldiers stood frozen, their weapons still aimed, but their fingers no longer steady. None of them had expected this. None of them had trained for a human who chose to stand unarmored. The alien warrior woman was the first to move. Not forward. Not back. She shifted her stance slightly, grounding herself. It was a habit from countless battles. When fear tried to rise, she anchored herself to discipline. But discipline struggled now. She had faced monsters from void worlds. She had watched suns burn behind her fleets. She had never lowered her weapon once in all her years, yet now it hung loose in her grip. The human stood silently, watching her. He did not smile. He did not threaten. He simply waited. "Why do you do this?" she finally asked. Her voice echoed across broken metal and shattered stone. It was not loud. It did not need to be. The human tilted his head slightly. "Do what he asked. Expose yourself." She said, "You remove your protection in front of enemies who could kill you in seconds. This is either madness or arrogance." The human considered her words. Then he shook his head slowly. "Neither," he said. The alien soldiers shifted again. One of them whispered something to another. Fear sharpened the sound. The warrior woman silenced them with a glance. "Then explain," she said. The human took a slow breath. The faint glow of the markings across his skin pulsed once, then settled. "Armor," he said, "makes others feel safe around us." The warrior woman frowned. That made no sense. "Armor protects the wearer," she said. The human looked at her directly. "Not ours," he replied. She felt the weight of his gaze. It was not aggressive, but it was deep, like looking into a vast, quiet ocean. "Our armor," he continued, "limits us, slows us, reminds us to hold back." The alien warrior woman felt something cold move through her chest. Hold back from what, she asked. The human did not answer immediately. Instead, he looked around at the ruins, at the burned buildings, at the empty streets. "From this," he said quietly, her jaw tightened. "Your people attacked first." She said this outpost was a threat. The human nodded once. Maybe, he said, that answer unsettled her more than denial would have. One of the alien soldiers stepped forward despite himself. "Commander," he said, "we should end this now. This is a trick." The warrior woman did not turn. "Wait," she said. The soldier hesitated. "Yes, Commander." The human shifted his weight slightly. The ground beneath his feet cracked with a soft sound. Several aliens gasped. He did not seem to notice. "We're afraid," the warrior woman said. The human looked back at her. "Yes," he answered honestly. Her eyes narrowed. "Then why remove your armor?" she demanded. "Because fear keeps me careful," he replied calmly. "Armor makes me forget it." The words struck her harder than any insult. She remembered her early years, her first battle. How fear had sharpened her senses. How it had kept her alive. How later victories had dulled it. The human took one step forward. The alien line flinched. "Stop," she ordered quickly. He stopped immediately. "I will not cross unless invited," he said. That was when she understood. He was not testing her strength. He was testing her control. She studied him more carefully now. The scars were not random. They followed patterns, defensive patterns, restraint patterns, signs of someone who fought too often and survived too much. "Who are you?" she asked. The human paused. "A soldier," he said after a moment. That was not the answer she wanted. "No," she said, "you are not." Just that. The human gave a small nod. "I was trained to end wars," he admitted. "Not win battles, end wars." Her grip tightened again, not in anger but in instinct. "The council will not tolerate this," she said. "They will come, I know," he replied. As if summoned by the words, the sky above them shifted. A low vibration rolled across the ruins. Shadows moved where there should have been none. Alien ships. Large ones. The council fleet. The alien warrior woman felt her stomach drop. She looked up at the sky, then back at the human. "They will kill you first," she said. The human followed her gaze. "Probably," he said. She stared at him. "You are unarmored, unprotected. You will die." The human met her eyes again. Then it will be quick, he said, but it will teach them something that made no sense to her. Teach them what? She asked. The human looked back at the descending shadows. We choose restraint, he said, not weakness. The council ships grew larger, their engines humming with power. Communication signals flooded the area. Orders were already being sent. The alien warrior woman realized something then. This human had not come to negotiate. He had come to be seen. Her heart pounded. They fire, she said slowly. Everything changes. The human nodded. Yes, he agreed. The silence returned. But now it was waiting. And the galaxy was about to learn why humans wore armor in the first place. The council fleet arrived without ceremony. Massive ships broke through the clouds like dark mountains, their hulls glowing with controlled power. They hovered above the ruined outpost, blotting out the weak sun. The ground trembled as landing lights swept across broken streets and frozen soldiers. Every alien present lowered their heads slightly in respect. Every alien except the warrior woman. She stood still, eyes locked on the unarmored human. The first council ship opened a channel. A voice echoed across the battlefield, deep and cold, filled with authority that had ruled systems for centuries. Identify yourselves and stand down immediately. The warrior woman turned and raised her arm. This outpost is secure, she said. The situation is under control. There was a pause, and the voice returned, sharper now. You are ordered to execute the human and withdraw. The warrior woman felt the words hit her like a blade. She looked back at the human. He showed no reaction. He did not look at the sky. He did not tense. He simply stood there, hands open, breathing slow and steady. He knew this moment would come. The warrior woman stepped forward. I request delay, she said. This human is... The council cut her off. Your request is denied. Humans are unpredictable. Unarmored or not, they are a threat. The alien soldiers behind her shifted nervously. Some glanced at the human, some at the sky. None of them moved their weapons. The warrior woman clenched her jaw. If they fire, she thought, everything ends here. The human finally looked up. He raised his head and met the gaze of the massive ships above. His eyes were calm, almost gentle. Then he spoke, his voice carrying without effort. I will not resist, he said, but I ask one thing. The council voice hesitated. Speak. Let them watch, the human said. All of them. Do not erase this moment. Silence followed. Then the council laughed. A harsh sound echoing from the ships. You believe your death will change us, the voice said. You believe too much in your kind. The human nodded slowly. Maybe, he said. Or maybe you believe too little. A beam of energy charged beneath one of the council ships. Light gathered, bright and focused, aimed directly at the human. The alien warrior woman felt panic surge through her. Stop, she shouted too late. The beam fired, but it never reached him. The human moved. Not fast. Perfect. He stepped forward and raised one hand. The energy bent. Not deflected, not blocked, redirected. The beam curved upward, tearing into the sky and vanishing harmlessly into space. The ground cracked beneath the human's feet, but he did not stumble. Every alien froze. The council went silent. The human lowered his hand. This is why we wear armor, he said quietly. The warrior woman stared, breath caught in her throat. He had not attacked. He had corrected. The council voice returned, no longer mocking. What are you? The human looked down at his hands, flexing his fingers slightly, as if reminding himself to remain careful. Human, he said, nothing more? That answer frightened them more than any threat. Another council ship charged its weapons. The warrior woman stepped forward instinctively. Enough, she shouted. You will destroy everything. The council ignored her. The human closed his eyes. A brief moment, the markings across his body flared brighter. The air vibrated. The ruins groaned under invisible pressure. The alien soldiers dropped to one knee, unable to stand. The warrior woman struggled but remained upright, forcing herself to watch. The human opened his eyes. I warned you, he said. We wear armor so moments like this never happen. The council ships fired together. The human did not dodge. He did not strike back. He reached out. Space itself seemed to tighten. The energy attacks collapsed inward, crushed by an unseen force, then faded out like sparks in the wind. The council ships shook violently, systems failing, engines dying. One by one, they powered down. They did not explode. They did not fall. They stopped. The battlefield was silent again. The human lowered his arms slowly. The glow faded. The pressure lifted. Alien soldiers gasped, collapsing where they stood. The warrior woman dropped to one knee, not from force, but from realization. This human could have ended them all. And he chose not to. The council voice returned, weak now, stripped of authority. Why spare us? The human looked at the warrior woman, then back at the sky. Because fear should teach, not rule, he said. And because, if we ever stop choosing restraint, there will be no one left to fear us. The council said nothing. Ships remained powerless, floating silently above. The warrior woman bowed her head, not in submission, in respect. She finally understood the truth passed down as myth. Humans did not fear war. They feared what they would become if they embraced it. The council ships hung in the sky like silent ghosts. Their lights were dim, their weapons were dead. For the first time in centuries, the council fleet was powerless above a battlefield it could not control. Alien soldiers slowly stood up, shaking, confused, afraid. Many of them looked up at the ships they once trusted. Others stared at the unarmored human, unable to look away. The alien warrior woman remained on one knee. She did not rise immediately, not because she was weak, but because her understanding of the galaxy had cracked open. The human stood still, breathing slow. The glow on his skin had faded completely. He looked ordinary again. Almost fragile, almost. The council channel opened once more. This time the voice was not loud. It was careful. Human, the council said, you have demonstrated power beyond acceptable limits. The human did not respond right away. He turned and looked at the warrior woman. You may stand, he said gently. She hesitated. Then she stood. Her movements were slower now, measured, as if sudden motion might invite disaster. She met his eyes. Why did you stop? She asked. Quietly, you could have ended them all. The human nodded. Yes, he said. Then why did you not? She pressed. The human looked past her, at the broken outpost, at the empty streets, where humans once lived. Because victory is easy, he said. Restraint is hard. Those words stayed with her. The council spoke again. You claim restraint, yet you disable our fleet, the voice said. This is an act of war, the human finally looked up. No, he replied, this is an act of trust. Trust, the council repeated, confused. Yes, the human said. I trust that you will remember this moment every time you consider attacking us again. The council was silent. The warrior woman felt something shift inside her. Humans were not begging for peace. They were setting boundaries. One of the council ships tried to restart its engines. It failed. A ripple of panic moved through the council network. How long until systems recover? The council asked. The human answered without hesitation. Long enough, he said. The council understood the threat beneath the calm tone. You expect us to withdraw, the voice said. I expect you to think, the human replied. The warrior woman stepped forward. The council, she said, you ordered me to execute this human? I refused. There was anger in the council voice now. You disobeyed direct command. Yes, she said. A pause. And the council asked the question that changed everything. Why? The warrior woman took a breath. Because if we force humans to stop choosing restraint, she said, the galaxy will not survive what comes next. Silence spread across the council channel. The human closed his eyes briefly. She understands, he thought. The council voice softened. This changes nothing, the council said. Humans are still dangerous. The human opened his eyes. Danger is not the problem, he said. Unchecked fear is. He stepped back toward his fallen armor pieces. Slowly, deliberately, he picked up the first plate. The alien soldiers tensed again. The warrior woman raised her hand. Stand down, she ordered. They obeyed instantly. The human began to put the armor back on. With each piece, the pressure in the air lessened. The ground seemed to relax. The galaxy exhaled. The warrior woman watched closely. Without armor, he had been terrifying. With it, he looked contained, limited. When the helmet sealed shut, his voice came through the speakers again. This ends today, he said. The council responded sharply. You do not dictate terms. The human turned toward the sky. No, he said, we define consequences. The council ships flickered. Emergency systems finally reactivated. Slowly, cautiously, the fleet began to pull back. The alien warrior woman felt relief mixed with dread. This was not a victory, it was a warning. As the last council ship began to retreat, the warrior woman spoke. "Human," she said. He turned. "What will happen now?" she asked. The human considered the question. "Stories," he said. "Legends, warnings, misunderstandings." She nodded slowly. "And as she asked, "You will decide," he replied, "whether you teach your people fear or understanding." She straightened her posture. "Then I choose understanding," she said. The human gave a small nod. "That is all we ask." The council fleet vanished into the clouds, leaving the ruined outpost behind. The alien soldiers slowly lowered their weapons fully. Some looked ashamed, others looked relieved. The warrior woman approached the human one final time. "What should I call you?" she asked. He paused. "Names are less important than choices," he said, "but you may call me what others do." "Which is?" she asked. The human looked out across the ruins. "Guardian," he said. The words settled heavily. The warrior woman bowed her head again. This time not in fear, in alliance. As the human ship prepared to depart, she watched him walk back up the ramp. For the first time in her life, she feared not an enemy. She feared becoming one. And across the stars, the council began rewriting laws that had stood for ages. Because the most terrifying truth they had learned was simple. Humanity did not rule the galaxy. Humanity protected it from itself. The outpost did not feel empty anymore. The council fleet was gone, but its shadow remained. Broken towers still leaned toward the sky, and the streets were still scarred, yet something had changed. The air no longer felt hostile, it felt watchful. The human ship did not leave immediately. It stayed grounded at the edge of the ruins, engines quiet, ramp open. The human guardian stood near the entrance, fully armored once more, watching the horizon. The alien warrior woman gathered her forces. They moved slower than before, quieter. No one joked, no one boasted. Every soldier had seen the same thing. Every soldier understood the same truth. Power did not always roar. Sometimes it waited. The warrior woman walked alone through the outpost streets. Her boots echoed against metal and stone. She stopped where the human had stood unarmored. The ground there was cracked, shaped by force she could not measure. She knelt and placed her hand on the surface. This is where history changed, she thought. One of her officers approached carefully. "Commander," he said, "the council has sent new orders." She did not turn. "Read them," she said. The officer hesitated. "They demand full reports and command reassignment," he continued. "They are afraid." The warrior woman almost smiled. "They should be," she replied. She stood and turned to face her soldiers. "We will remain here," she said, "until recovery teams arrive. This outpost will not be erased." Some soldiers looked surprised. "This place is symbolic now," she added. "The galaxy must remember why it stands." They obeyed without question. Across the outpost, the human guardian removed his helmet briefly inside the ship. He sat alone, shoulders heavy, breathing controlled. The two humans, who had stayed behind, finally spoke. "You showed too much," one of them said quietly. The guardian shook his head. "No," he replied. "I showed enough." The other human looked uneasy. "The council will spread fear. They always do," the guardian answered. "But fear fades when memory remains." He stood and placed the helmet back on. Outside, the warrior woman approached the ship ramp. "Human guardian," she called. He stepped down to meet her. "You stayed," she said. "For now," he replied. She studied him. "The council will test us," she said. "They will test you." The guardian nodded. "They always do." She hesitated. "Why protect us?" she asked. "Your people suffered here." The guardian looked past her at the ruins. "Because cycles only end when someone chooses to stop them," he said. Her eyes lowered. "Then teach us," she said. "Teach us how to choose restraint." The guardian considered her words. "That lesson takes time," he said. "And humility we have both," she replied. He gave a slight nod. "Then the lesson has begun." Days passed. Recovery fleets arrived. Not council warships, but neutral vessels. Observers, recorders, they walked the battlefield in silence, collecting data, replaying recordings, studying energy readings they could not fully understand. Whispers spread faster than ships could travel. Humans stood unarmored before a council fleet. A human disabled warships without killing. A human chose restraint over dominance. Across star systems, ancient doctrines were questioned. Training manuals were rewritten. Some commanders laughed, others trembled. The warrior woman was summoned by the council. She did not go immediately. When she finally stood before them through a secure channel, her posture was firm. You disobeyed orders, the council said. Yes, she replied. You sided with a human, I sided with survival. She answered. The council threatened removal. She accepted. Rank means nothing if the galaxy burns, she said. The council ended the session without judgment. For now, back at the outpost, the human guardian prepared to leave. The warrior woman stood with him at the edge of the landing zone. Will you return, she asked, if needed, he said. She nodded. Then know this, she said. My people will remember who stood between us and destruction. He looked at her. So will mine, he replied. The ship lifted slowly into the sky, engines whispering rather than roaring. The warrior woman watched until it vanished among the clouds. She felt something unfamiliar. It's not fear, responsibility. Weeks later, she stood before a new generation of warriors. She told them the story. Not as a warning, as a lesson. Humans are not weak, she said. They are controlled, and control is strength. Never force them to remove it across the stars. The guardian returned to human space. He placed his armor in its cradle and stood silently for a long moment. The armor hummed softly, systems ready. He touched it gently. Not a weapon, a promise. Yes. Because humanity had learned long ago that true power was not in what they could do, but in what they chose not to. Years passed. The outpost became a marker on every major star map, not because of resources, not because of victory, but because of what did not happen there. No massacre, no extinction, no war that should have consumed systems. Travelers slowed when passing nearby. Fleets adjusted course. Even pirates avoided the region. Everyone knew the story. A human stood without armor, and the galaxy blinked first. The alien warrior woman stood on a high platform overlooking a rebuilt command hall. It was quieter now, stronger, different from the old days. Her armor bore fewer symbols of conquest and more marks of service. She had changed. Her people had changed. Young warriors trained below her, but their drills were different now. They learned patience before aggression. Observation before attack. Control before force. She watched them carefully. Remember, she called out, "Strength is not proven by how fast you strike the trainees," repeated the lesson in unison. Strength is proven by what you choose not to do far away in human space. The Guardian lived a life that few would recognize as important. He trained new soldiers. It's not in combat first, in restraint. He told them stories of worlds saved by hesitation, of wars ended by silence, armor worn not to protect the body, but to protect the soul. Many did not understand at first. All eventually did. One day, an urgent signal reached both human and alien channels. The Council had fractured. Some worlds demanded immediate action against humanity. They feared another moment like the one at the outpost. They feared losing control forever. A fleet gathered in secret. The warrior woman received the report and closed her eyes. It was happening again. She sent one message. Not to the Council, to the Guardian. He arrived alone. No fleet, no escort, no threat. The meeting took place in open space, between stars, where no world could claim advantage. Council representatives appeared as massive holograms, their forms cold and distant. You were warned, one of them said. Humanity cannot be allowed unchecked power. The Guardians stood in silence, armored and still. Unchecked power, he replied, is exactly what you fear, because it is what you use. The Council spoke of control, of order, of fear justified by survival. The Guardian listened. Then he did something unexpected. He deactivated his armor. In open space, seals released, plates unlocked. The armor drifted away slowly, piece by piece, floating harmlessly in the void. Gasps echoed across the Council channel. The Guardian remained standing, unprotected, anchored only by gravity fields. I will not fight you, he said. The warrior woman watched from her command ship, heart pounding. But I will remind you, he continued, that humanity did not conquer the stars because we were strongest. We reached them because we learned to stop ourselves. The Council threatened annihilation. The Guardian did not move. Then the warrior woman spoke. If you strike him, she said, you strike every world that learned from him. Behind her, fleets appeared. Not human fleets, alien fleets, former enemies, former rivals, worlds that remembered the lesson of restraint. The Council hesitated. For the first time, they were alone. The Guardian reached out and slowly pulled his armor back toward himself. Not to fight, to leave. "This meeting is over," he said. The council disconnected. The galaxy did not burn. Instead, something rare happened. It learned. Decades later, the warrior woman stood older now, her movements slower, but her presence heavier than ever. She spoke before a united assembly of species. "We feared humans," she said, "because we saw their strength without understanding their choice." She paused. "Their armor was never protection. It was mercy." Across the hall, a recording played. The moment from the outpost. The silence. The lowering of a weapon. The decision that changed everything. In human space, children learned the story in simple words. Once a human removed his armor, and the galaxy learned fear could become respect. The Guardian was never celebrated publicly. No statues, no songs. Only one quiet inscription at the outpost. Here stood a human, unarmored, and the galaxy survived on his final day of service. The Guardian placed his armor into storage for the last time. He rested his hand on it, feeling the faint hum. Not a weapon, reminder. That the most dangerous thing in the universe was not power, it was power without restraint. And humanity had chosen long ago to never become that.